Fuck
Fuck
you.
you.
Oh, there's no gratata.
No gratata today.
What's up, everyone? Fuck the World Entertainment. And we have decided that we are going to, I guess, branch out a little more now.
Yeah.
You
Tad
know,
bit.
we started with just wrestling. We moved into wrestling and boxing and MMA. And now we're going to start doing some movie reviews and such. This is more of like a trial run than anything else right now.
We're gonna see how this takes off, and if anything, we'll branch out from there. We're hoping to do some TV show reviews as well. We'll see how this works first, though. Tonight we watched two movies that were actually both very good, so you won't hear a lot of complaining through it. But there were some sour parts in them as well. We watched Kingsmen: The Golden Circle, and we watched something out of Stephen King's
The Darktower.
archive, The Darktower. So I guess let's start with...
We'll start with the
Kingsman.
first one we watched. We watched Kingsman first. So we'll start with Kingsman. This was the sequel to the movie that I think caught everybody off guard. The original Kingsman, when I first heard about it and I knew about the comic, I didn't think much of it at the time. I didn't think it was going to be all that great. I thought, it's just them grabbing up any comic material they can right now and trying to make it into something. And the first movie was excellent. It was extremely good, which made me extremely nervous going into the second movie, because usually when you get one really, really good movie, the follow-up is usually shit.
Yeah.
It just seems to be what happens a lot of the times.
Oh, yeah.
Unless
Absolutely.
you're Marvel. Marvel seems to do better as they go.
Yep.
But I will be happy to say that I was very happy with Kingsman. I thought it was an excellent movie. There were some predictable parts, I'll say.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it a little bit here. Spoiler alert before we head forward. So Kingsman pretty much picks up where the last one left off.
Yep.
With Eggsy now as the
Top guy.
top Kingsman, if you will, because... What was his code name? The
one-eyed dude.
Yeah, what was his code? The guy who Samuel L. Jackson killed in the first movie.
That would be... Excuse us, folks. We got a lot of names to look up. Harry.
Yes, Harry was dead. With Harry dead, he trained Eggsy, so now Eggsy was now basically their Harry. He was using the same call name and everything.
Yep.
I don't remember the call name right now, excuse me. But they were using the same code name, the whole nine. And it picks up with a character from the first movie who was actually kicked out of Kingsman. He was denied entry, basically.
Yep.
And it was Charlie.
Yep.
And he's attacking Eggsy, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Eggsy fends him off or whatever, but Charlie leaves a little surprise for him. It's this weird mechanical arm thing that hacks into the database and gives them the location of all the Kingsmen, essentially. And crazy lady who runs a huge drug operation, whose name was Poppy, was the one funding all this stuff. The mechanical arm, all that.
She even had two mechanical dogs.
Yeah, they were pretty cool, gotta say.
They're fucking awesome.
And our first introduction to Poppy was her using her meat grinder to turn a human being into a beef patty.
Yeah. Which was sad because the beef patty actually looked really fucking
good. And the finished product looked even better.
Yeah, the way the cheese was melted.
Yes, it was bad. It made me feel bad about... I mean, I know it wasn't a real human patty, but still.
To our vision, it's like you still got the guy's legs up in the air in the meat grinder as you're making the patty.
Yes. And Poppy was actually played by... Hold on a second, pull it up. Because this is an actress who, in my experience, at least when I've seen her in movies, she's always delivered extremely good performances. She was in...
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, Julianne Moore. She was in, if you remember, she had the part in The Hunger Games where she was the Resistance's president. And, I mean, just anything I've ever seen her in, she's never really put up a bad performance, in my opinion.
And she played a murderous drug dealer very, very well.
Yes. a homemaking murderous drug dealer with a insanely psychopathic rage.
Exactly.
And she did it beautifully. And she ran the Golden Circle, and they were called the Golden Circle because she literally took smelted gold, smelted, smelted gold,
Yep.
smelted gold, and formed it into a circle somewhere on your body to mark that you were with her. It was very, very crazy.
Yeah.
So she gets the intel, and she then proceeds to launch missiles at every single fucking Kingsman there is. And the only Kingsmen that survive the attack are Merlin. If you all remember, Merlin was their tech guy pretty much.
Yep.
Because he's not listed on their database because he's not a Kingsman.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, but he's not one of their assassins, if you will, or one of their guys that deals with shit.
Eggsy and Merlin are the only two that live, and the only reason
Eggsy lived is because he's having dinner with the king.
He was having dinner with the king and left his best friend in charge of his dog.
Yep. So when they bomb his house, it kills his dog
And his best friend.
It also makes for a very funny moment in the movie, though, because Eggsy's got his shades on, and his friend puts his shades on, and he picks up the little thing that's a bomb, and Eggsy's like, "You put that down! Put that the fuck down!" And the king is the one he's talking. You gotta watch it.
It's fucking
Very
funny.
funny
It's
moment.
fucking
Funny as
hysterical.
hell. Funny as hell. So, at this point, the entire Kingsmen have been wiped off the face of the earth with the exception of Eggsy and Merlin. And they initiate the Doomsday Protocol, which is a bottle of whiskey.
Which was funny as hell.
Yeah. So they sat down, they drank the bottle, get to the bottom of the bottle, there's a message in the bottle, pretty much. Distilled in Kentucky. And the K
is the Kingsman logo.
So they go to Kentucky, and they get to Kentucky, and they find all kinds of weird technology protecting whiskey, which they think is weird. I didn't think it was that weird. Whiskey should be protected. It's important to us. But they get in, and they find Channing Tatum.
And we skipped out on the part. They're called the Statesmen.
Well, we didn't skip out on that yet, though. We didn't know that yet.
Oh.
We did not know that yet. We didn't know that until a little bit down the road. But yeah, they're Channing Tatum. It's Channing Tatum. And at that point, the Kingsman just went up another million or so viewers because every woman in America now is turning on to watch the Kingsman. And he kicks their ass.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe shit. He's kicking their ass, and that's it. And his code name is the coolest code name of all time. Whiskey.
Tequila.
Who was Whiskey? Oh, the other guy was Whiskey. Okay, so no, he's the second coolest then. Tequila.
Tequila.
Not a Tequila fan. And you find out that, and here, spoiler alert, you ready? Another big one. He's holding them. He doesn't believe them, so he hits the little button and he reveals a two-way mirror. And in the little room that they have, that's padded, by the way, because I guess they thought he was nuts,
Yeah.
is Harry. Harry's not dead. Now, that's one of the things that I meant about this movie.
Yeah.
When we first turned on the movie, what was the first thing I said?
You don't think he's dead?
Nope. I said, I don't think Harry's dead. I said, I know we saw him get shot in the face and all, but something just tells me we're going to see him in this movie. And sure enough, there was Harry. He had amnesia. And the Channing Tatum's crew, who are called the Statesmen, had this weird technology where they wrapped your face in what looked like saran wrap, stabbed you with 2 needles, and it engulfed your head in some kind of gel, which could stop gunshot wounds to the brain, which, let me tell you something, if that's even remotely some kind of technology that's out there, that's badass, okay? But Harry doesn't know who the fuck he is, because he got shot in the face. So he's talking about butterflies and shit while they're trying to save the world.
Because originally he wanted to be, I forgot the technical term of it.
He wanted to
but
study
he wanted
butterflies.
to study butterflies.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do before
And
he joined
instead he
the
became a
Kingsmen.
teetoting badass.
Yeah, literally.
How'd that happen?
I don't know.
But anyways. So now they're with the Statesmen. The Statesmen are offering them all kinds of help and stuff. You got, you can go get revenge. But then it turns into a bigger than revenge plot because that's not enough. Revenge is never enough nowadays.
Nope.
That's not enough. No. The crazy poppy chick went and poisoned all the drugs in America. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She poisoned crystal meth, cocaine, heroin,
She poisoned pot. What did we ever do to you? Potheads have done nothing wrong to anybody, okay? As a former dedicated, not former, dedicated, no, whatever. As somebody who smoked pot in his life, pot doesn't do anything wrong to anybody. It didn't bother you, so why are you bothering it? But that's what she did. She poisoned all the pot in the world.
And the rest of the drugs.
Every drug you can get. So a couple 100 million people were now affected.
And the side effects included
a blue face,
a weird skin rash that looks like your veins were turning fucking blue.
Yep. Paralysis. Mania, which made
Mania,
Channing Tatum dance like he was, Hannah Montana.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. And then the final one was death.
Yeah, pretty much. Brought on by the paralysis because it actually stopped all your muscles, including your circulatory system, everything else. And then you just started oozing blood out everywhere and you died.
Yep.
But luckily, she had the antidote, which she gave to Elton John. Elton John's in the movie, by the way.
And he's a badass, too.
Gave the antidote to Elton John to show everybody it would work. And then she said, the only way I'm giving you the antidote is if you legalize drugs. Because, of course, she's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
So to her, her whole purpose in this movie was she felt like she was the greatest businesswoman of all time because she had earned over $1 billion, she said, the year before in drug money. But nobody knew about it because she sold drugs.
Yeah.
So she wanted to become a legit businesswoman in the drug world and get drugs legalized. And she realized that if she could, with all the money she had, she'd be quite powerful at that point.
So now, before all that happens, there's rumors of someone that knows a pretty good amount of information on where Charlie is, because they're scouting him at this point. It's Charlie's ex-girlfriend, but we come to find out that they were actually still together. I don't know how that worked.
Yeah, but that's not really before. I mean, we just know that they were tracking her.
That was like before the whole thing with Harry happened, because him and Whiskey went.
That wasn't before him and Harry.
Was it?
No, they had seen Harry was there. They just didn't get Harry back yet.
You're right.
So Harry's still cuckoo in the cuckoo nest.
Yep.
And they're going to go find Charlie's girlfriend because that's their best source at this point. She's at a rock concert, right? So another codename dude, Whiskey, who was basically another statesman.
Yeah.
Who liked to use his lasso and his whip. Pretty badass, too. Goes with Eggsy, and he tells Eggsy that we have to implant a transmitter on her that will track her, right? And Whiskey says, Eggsy says, oh, it's easy. We just get close to her and, boop. And he goes, no, buddy, that's not how this works. We have to put it somewhere in her mucus or in her, saliva or in somewhere, right? And he goes, well, what do you want me to do? Walk up to her? Because it's a little thing you slide over your finger. Looks like a finger condom.
It is a finger condom.
Right? What do you want me to do? Walk up to her and stick my finger up her nose? And he just smiles at him. And he goes, oh, it's not just the nose, is it? Basically, he wants him to go finger the girl. That's what the whole thing implied. So Eggsy runs his game after Whiskey tries and fails. And he's there. He's going to get it done. But then at the last minute, he gets cold feet and he calls his girlfriend because he feels bad. She hangs up on him. He's going to say no. And then he sees a golden circle on the girl. And he goes, oh, well, fuck it. I guess I got no other choice now. Yeah. And he goes as far as, I guess, fingering the girl pretty much. And then he runs away.
Yep.
Which was weird because the chick was pretty hot. Got to tell you. She wasn't bad.
No.
So now they follow the tracking beacon and everything else. They're going to track the girl. But before all this, Eggsy realizes that the only way they're going to get this done is with Harry. That's it. Only chance they got is to get Harry back. Mm-hmm. And they're trying all these things to jog Harry's memory. They tried to drown him because I guess he had a drowning experience once in his life. And they figured it might traumatize him back to remember that. Yeah. That didn't work. He just freaked out a lot. They're just getting ready to let him go. Eggsy's drinking because he's pissed off. When he realizes, oh, wait a minute. I know how to shock him back a little bit. The dog.
Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles, who died, by the way.
Yeah.
Because, he was in Eggsy's house, so he's dead.
Yeah.
He goes and finds a puppy that looks like Mr. Pickles. He gives him the puppy, and he goes to shoot the puppy. Harry freaks out.
No, he didn't die because he was in Eggsy's house. That was Eggsy's dog.
No, he had the dog, and then he had Mr. Pickles on his mantle. Just like he had it. No, it's not. It just looked like a stuffed dog.
Oh, it was really Mr. Pickles?
It was Mr. Pickles.
It looked so stuffed. Oh,
Harry had it the same way in his house.
Oh, okay.
So he gives him Mr. Pickles, starting to shoot Mr. Pickles, and Harry freaks out. I would never hurt Mr. Pickles. It was blanks. And little butterflies start flying around, and Harry gets his memory back, little by little. So they go, time to go get the antidote, right? Because you can't give this bitch what she wants, because you find out that the president of the United States is a scumbag. He must have been mirroring Donald Trump.
Probably.
That's what it must have been.
Probably.
Fucking Trump.
This motherfucker
was okay.
wanted to do it And then once it happens, he figured it was going to be a win-win because, well, if all the druggies in the world are dead, there won't be anyone to sell drugs to. Ha ha, logic.
Yeah, he was like, oh, we're the presidency that wiped out the drug problem. And 100 million people with it.
So then his Secretary of State comes up and says, sir, but what about the people that are experimenting? Kids, people that did it for like one time.
And her face turned blue.
And her face turns blue.
Because she was a drug addict. Or, like to smoke pot on the weekends. Whatever. So basically the president is A-okay with killing a bunch of people. And she's not, so they lock her up because she turned blue. Because he says anybody who uses drugs is a criminal.
Yeah.
Fuck you, buddy. Okay? Not
Salute.
all drug addicts are criminals. Right there. So they go to get the cure. They get the cure, right? Because they follow a girlfriend who's got the tracker in her hoo-ha. And... and Charlie sees him and he finds out how they got the tracker on his girlfriend by sticking the finger up the hoo-ha, and he gets a little upset. And he starts chasing them. They're on a ski lift, and Charlie got a control of it, and it starts spinning, and then a very good bobsledding scene, pretty much, with a ski lift. It was weird. It's cool. You got to go watch it. Seriously.
Still a bunch of better bobsledders than the Jamaican bobsled team.
So, at the end of all this, right, it winds up being a standoff between the good guys and the bad guys, and Whiskey jumps out and kills all the bad guys. Then he comes back, and Harry shoots him in the face. Because Whiskey broke the vial, and Harry was like, well, you broke the vial on purpose, motherfucker. And if you look at it from Harry's perspective here, he could have gone, get down.
Yeah.
No, he went, move, and hit the hand that Eggsy was holding the cure with, and knocked it on the floor, and now everybody's going to die again. Right? So Harry shoots him in the face. Eggsy quickly freaks out, thinking that Harry just freaked out, wraps the thing around his head, gives him the 2 needles, and they bring him back home. Eggsy lies for Harry. Harry finally tells Merlin the truth. They find out that they got to go to... Where they have to go to? Cambodia?
Cambodia.
They had to go to Cambodia, because that's where Poppy's hideout is.
And in the midst of all this happening, Eggsy's girlfriend smokes a little pot to get her mind off of the whole, my boyfriend just cheated on me thing.
My boyfriend just finger banged the crazy chick with the finger condom.
So now she FaceTimes him.
Put a tracker up her hoo-ha.
She FaceTimes him, and her face is blue.
So he freaks out. He's going. Harry and Merlin go with him.
Yep.
They're going to go get Poppy, right? Well, they get there. The first fucking thing that happens is Eggsy steps on a landmine. So he can't move. Merlin freezes the thing and says, 1, 2, pushes him out of the way, puts his foot on it. Because he knows that they couldn't have gotten far enough away. They all would have died.
Yeah.
Merlin tells them all to go. Eggsy doesn't want to leave. Harry says, no, we got to go. So they leave. They all say their tearful goodbyes. Merlin says, shed a tear for me later. Then he starts singing. Lures some of Poppy's guards over. And he steps off the landmine.
And everyone blows up.
Blows up himself and 5 other guys in the process. And then, we can't give this part justice, so we're just going to give you a quick cliff notes here. It's real simple. Badass gunfight. It's really that simple.
Fucking Eggsy has a fucking briefcase that's a bazooka, a machine gun, and turns into a fucking riot shield.
And Harry's got the umbrella.
Harry's got the fucking umbrella.
Which is still badass.
Fucking... Reference here. Poppy turned her entire base into a mini town, kinda.
Which looked like the 50s.
Which looks like the 50s. So, above the barbershop fucking thing, there were a giant pair of scissors. Eggsy fucking shoots it and impales 2 motherfuckers below him.
They knocked down the...
Fucking great.
They knocked down the Simpsons donut.
Simpsons donut. That was good.
Knocked it down, had it roll over some people. You know, a lot of good moments in that gunfight that we can't do justice to. We just can't.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you saw it, go fucking watch it again.
You know, and we don't want to give away the whole ending on you here, so we'll just leave it simply like this. The good guys win, obviously. Yep. And the Kingsmen now have their base back thanks to the Statesmen, who gave them a ton of money and said we are now brothers. They bought them a distillery in Scotland and all that good stuff.
They even got their own alcohol named after
called
them.
the Kingsmen, just like the Statesmen have a bottle called the Statesman. And they all go live happily ever after. And apparently, at the end of the movie, we see Channing Tatum arriving in England, walking up to the Kingsman barbershop. Tailor shop.
Tailor shop.
So we can only assume that now Channing Tatum is a Kingsman. which leads me to believe there will be a part 3, because otherwise, why do you show that?
Yeah.
There's no point to showing that.
Oh, one more Cliff Note thing. To tell that, the Kingsmen were actually telling the truth about, the bottle and all that good shit, Halle Berry pops up and finds in her Doomsday failsafe an umbrella from the Kingsmen. The Doomsday failsafe was for them to call each other.
Yep, pretty much. So, Kingsman, Statesman, we now have 2 different entities. Maybe we'll get a Statesman movie. Who the hell knows?
Maybe. That'd be pretty badass.
Could be cool, But overall, it was an excellent movie. I'm going to give it... I won't go ridiculously high here. I'm going to give it like... We're going to go 10 stars is our top?
Yeah.
We're going to go 10 stars? All right, so I'm going to go 8. I'll go a solid 8.
I'm going to give it that too. And now we're going to trash on IMDb for giving it a 6.8.
Yeah, fuck you. You're fucking retarded. You know what? I only use you because you actually list people that were in the movie and stuff. Besides that, your opinion means jack shit to me. Rotten Tomatoes has better opinions than you.
Literally.
But, yeah, I think it gets an 8. I think it was an excellent sequel. I thought the actors were all very good. They did a great job of incorporating new actors and big name ones to kind of keep the series fresh and alive, and the incorporation of the Statesman to give us something new and a twist to everything. And it also, it leaves a lot of roads open. Who knows where we are in the next movie?
Yeah.
It could be a sequel to this one, but it's called The Statesman.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. They could do like 5 movies now, easily.
Easily.
So
now they've incorporated another group into this.
Yeah, I'm giving this an 8. Easy.
Solid.
Easy. Very good job. Another comic movie that's excelling. Always fun to see. From there, we then went down the road of one of my favorite authors. Well, a lot of people's favorite author.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
Who's put out some very good material.
Yeah.
His whole fucking career.
Don't judge his books based on some of the movies that have been made. Because some of those movies he doesn't have any control over.
Yeah.
He just sells the script to whoever, and they go and make a shitty movie sometimes.
Yep.
Darktower, which has Idris Elba in it as... The hell was his name? He was the only fucking name in the movie, really, and I can't remember it.
I pulled it up.
That was the
Roland.
gunslinger. As who?
Roland.
Yeah, we had Roland, and you had a kid.
We have Ving Rhames as Roland's father.
That wasn't Ving Rhames.
Was it?
No, that was not Ving Rhames.
It definitely looked like him.
Definitely did not.
Definitely did.
Did not.
Did so.
Ving Rhames is a lot bigger and has a lot more scars.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay.
That was not Ving Rhames.
It definitely looked like someone that looks like Ving Rhames.
It wasn't Ving Rhames. Anyways, got Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And I guess they shot their load with those 2 actors because besides those 2 guys, not a whole lot of faces in this movie you would know. Definitely not a whole lot of faces. This movie was very good. It had a lot of nice action sequences, a lot of good shootouts and stuff like that. But I was very confused. Because
it was a confusing movie.
The basic premise was the gunslingers were there to stop evil from destroying the tower so that they couldn't destroy the world, essentially.
And then they used kids' minds
as seers, basically.
As seers to destroy the tower.
It was weird. It didn't make...
And the one thing that was never explained through the whole movie...
What the fuck the tower was.
What the fuck was the tower? And what purpose did it have?
Like, was it a force field?
That would be... Like, my guess was that it was a force field to stop all hell from breaking loose upon
But they never really explain it to you. And this is why I think it got some bad ratings.
Yeah.
Is because... It's an adaptation from a book from Stephen King, which means it was a long book, most likely. And they tried to shove it into an 1.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
So that right there knocks you down a few points for me. Because, to me, they tried to get all the action in and none of the content. They didn't explain anything to us, really. They didn't explain really anything. They didn't even explain really who Matthew McConaughey was.
No, they did explain who he was.
No, they just said he was a warlock.
He was a sorcerer.
Sorcerer, that's it. But they didn't say why he wanted to destroy everything.
Got a point.
Just because you're a sorcerer doesn't mean you want to destroy shit. So, basically, the whole movie is this kid starts having visions. His mom wants to have him locked up. He runs away. And he finds these portals that they have hidden everywhere that you put in a number and it takes you to a year, basically. I think it was a year.
No, it was a different Earth.
It was a different Earth.
Yeah.
And he finds Roland, the gunslinger, who basically tells the kid that he needs his help to kill the sorceress.
I'm sorry. Why the fuck would you name a badass sorcerer Walter?
It was weird. Weird.
His name was Walter Odin.
You know what was weird about that?
What?
That's not the first name I've heard that last name. In The Witcher 3, there was another really badass sorcerer, who could manipulate things and grant you wishes, and his name was Gunter Odin, Man of Mirrors.
Interesting.
So, that last name's been used a few times for magical beings. But, again, there's not a lot of context in this movie. That's the one problem to it.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of, once Idris Elba and the kid find each other, and he explains who he is and what the kid is and what they have to do, they just kind of go from there. They wind up in another Earth, and the people there don't trust him, and they don't think he's a gunslinger anymore because gunslingers are supposed to protect people, but he just wants revenge at this point because Matthew McConaughey killed his father.
Yep.
And this kind of goes on for a while. And then we get to back to our time. And they killed the kid's mom. And they didn't just kill her. They burned her to ash. There was nothing left.
Literally.
It was upsetting.
Just a pile of ashes. But the asshole stepfather
He just killed.
just gets knocked on the floor.
But
Yeah,
again,
that's cool.
Roland said this was to make the kid get upset because if he did, he would use his telepathic powers.
The shine.
The shine, as they called it, and he could track it. Mm-hmm. So they leave there. They decide that they're going to go and do what they have to do. The kid gets under Roland's skin and makes him feel bad. And now Roland's not just going to kill Matthew McConaughey now, but he's going to stop him from destroying the world because the kid says, your world may be dying, but mine is not. Your mother just got burnt to a crisp, right? What do you have left? You're like 10? Okay? That's the other problem about this movie. Kid's like 11. He should not have been that smart.
Yeah.
Okay? But maybe the thing gives him powers. I don't know. So then they go to a gun store so that Idris can load up because he's a gunslinger. His 6-shooters were pretty badass. He threatens the shopkeeper into giving him all the bullets. And as they go to leave, doors slam shut, metal gates come up, and they surround. It's Matthew McConaughey with Idris, and they capture the kid, basically.
Yep.
And now Matthew McConaughey is going to use the kid's powers to activate some kind of doomsday device that will destroy the tower and, in effect, destroy Earth. But once again, we don't know why. We don't know what the tower is to Earth, that if it gets destroyed, why it's going to destroy Earth. So as that's bothering me, they then make up for it by giving us a couple of badass gun scenes again.
Yep.
A couple of really cool reload moments where he's got the modern day, rounds that are already set, and he's just tossing them in the air, firing off his shots, clicking the things open and catching them with his guns. All kind of cool. And the kid's being forced to do things because he can't do anything about it now. But at the end of all this, essentially, thanks to the greatest trick shot I've ever seen, which I know it wasn't real, but it was still cool to watch.
Yeah.
Roland kills Walter, saves the kid. They stop a tower that we don't know what it does from blowing up. And they eat a hot dog.
And then Roland invites the kid back to his world.
And he calls him Gunslinger.
And he calls him Gunslinger, and yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much the end of the movie.
When I saw the previews for this movie, I was very excited for it back then. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked fantastic. When I found out it was a Stephen King novel, I got even more excited. Because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is going to be badass. I went into this having read a lot of bad reviews on it.
Yeah.
So my expectations were lowered.
So what's our rating before I read the IMDb rating?
You know what? Anything above a 5, first of all, is decent because
Yeah.
5 is pretty much the midway point.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I'll give it about the same.
The context not being explained and explained, that kind of threw me off a
Yeah.
bit.
IMDb gave it a 5.7.
So we're not that far off from IMDb.
Not that
on
far
this one.
off.
I'm telling you, the one
A
thing
lot
that
of stuff was left out.
threw this movie off was not explaining shit.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
name the movie The Dark Tower, but don't even explain what the Dark Tower does or what it is.
that's a big falling point on that one.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps it up for us, though.
Yep.
So this has been our first movie review. We will do more. We're gonna try and do some show reviews like as soon as they go off the air. So until then, from us here at Fuck the World Entertainment to all of you jerk jobs, fuck you and have a very nice day.